students, welcome to Dr. Deepa Dahake's NEET Biology, and in today's session we will continue with our second chapter, sexual reproduction in plant. Already we completed about the male reproductive system, and from today we begins with the new topic, that is the female reproductive system in plants. When we study about the female reproductive system in plant, so mainly first we discuss about the pistil. Actually gynoecium is a female reproductive system, but we already studied the pistil is a single unit of gynoecium, and in today's session we mainly study about the pistil and megasporangium. In angiosperm, ovule is equivalent to megasporangium. So either you study the structure of megasporangium, or you remember we mainly study the structure of ovule. So let's begin with the session. When we study about the study about the female reproductive system. So here you remember gynoecium is female reproductive part, and the single unit of gynoecium is called as pistil. This part you remember. Now when we study about pistil, so here you remember the pistil is consists of either a single ovary or a multiple ovary. So in that case you remember either a single ovary कहा था, inside a pistil either a single ovule is present or multiple ovule is present. When we study about pistil, so pistil you remember, pistil mainly consists of stigma. Three parts are there. Stigma, the second part is style, and the third part of the pistil is called as ovary. Ovary is a basal part of the pistil. Stigma you remember, it is responsible for the receiving pollen grain at the time of pollination. That's why for stigma NCERT states the landing site of pollen grain is a stigma. Style is a long slender tube through which the pollen tube is passed, and the pollen tube reaches towards the ovary where the ovules are present. And what is ovary? Ovary you remember, basal bulge and swollen part or basal swollen part of the pistil or carpel you remember is called as ovary. Now inside the ovary you remember either the single carpel is present or multiple carpel or multiple ovule you can say are present. When single carpel is present, then we use one term that the pistil is called as monocarpellary, and when the multiple carpels are present, then you remember we use the term multicarpellary. So how the ovary is here? The ovary here, multicarpellary ovary, this part you remember. Now when we comes or study about the multicarpellary ovary, so all these multiple carpels are present, and these multiple carpels you remember, carpels either free or these carpels become fused. This part you remember, when the carpels are fused, then the ovary is called syncarpus. Example you remember, papaver. And when the carpels are free, then they are called as, the ovary is called as apocarpus. For apocarpus in NCERT, one example is provided, that is Michaelia name is provided. Michelia in Hindi commonly called as the flowers of champa. So commonly we know the champa flowers. Okay. So this part you remember, Michelia, or Hindi name you remember for that champa. These examples are not provided in literature. You go through the diagrammatic sections for the pistil, and in diagram section the four diagrams are actually provided. The first diagram is for the simple structure of the pistil. Second diagram is provided for the syncarpus, example papaver. The third diagram is provided for apocarpus condition of the pistil, and that is the example for that of Michelia. And the fourth diagram is provided for the typical ovule or typical megasporangium हम study करेंगे. So for the typical megasporangium of an angiosperm. So this part you remember. Placenta you already studied in class 11. Placenta you remember when we study about the placenta. So placenta is one of the nutritive tissue, or simple you remember the conductive tissue, and by placenta or by this tissue ovules are attached to the wall of ovary. This part you remember. So ovules attached to wall of the ovary with the help of placenta. In class 11th you already studied about the different kinds of placentation: marginal placentation, parietal placentation, basal placentation, free central placentation. 5 different types of placentation we study. So we are not going to discuss about what is placenta and what is placentation. Depending on this, how many ovules are present? Ovules, either you see a number of fruits you appear in day-to-day life. In some fruit only single seed is present, and in another fruit multiple seeds are present. कभी सोचा है कि why this condition is present? कि seeds in some fruit only one seed is present, and in another seed, papaya, watermelon, at the same time when you appear a large number of seeds are present. Reason there is that ovule, either in that fruit a single ovule inside the ovary when a single ovule is present, or either the ovary is present with multiple ovule. When a single ovule ovary is present, then you remember mango, one of the most common example, that a single seeded fruit. Whenever you appear a single seeded fruit, that means you remember the ovary of such fruit, or in such plant ovary contain only a single ovule. Whereas multiple ovules we commonly appear in papaya. In tomato also you appear multiple seeds, as well as in watermelon, common example. So in watermelon also we appear the multiple ovule, that means the multi-seeded fruits are present. So this much you remember for the general introduction when we begins with the female reproductive organ gynoecium in angiosperms or in flowering plants. Now we come towards the megasporangium. Megasporangium term you recall the class 11th chapter, and in class 11 we study about the plantae kingdom, chapter 3rd of the class 11. When you studied, so in plantae, pteridophyta and gymnophyta, mainly we study about the megasporophylls, and these megasporophylls are formed by megasporangium. But in angiosperm, this megasporangium, you remember, the megasporangium is equivalent. This question also asked one time in NEET. The megasporangium in angiosperms are equivalent to, so megasporangium, you remember, megasporangium is equivalent to the ovule. So now we come towards the structure of the ovule. When we study about the structure of ovule, so here you remember a typical ovule in angiosperm. When typical ovule in flowering plant or angiosperm. So you go through the book, diagram of ovule is provided that I mentioned earlier, and just in description box if you study. So in description box, typical ovule means, you remember, that's provided that anatropous ovule is there. So typical ovule means, you remember, the anatropous ovule is present in most of the angiosperm. So first we study the diagram of angiosperm. You pay attention because this is one of the most important diagram. So, and only the diagram is asking in board exams, mainly for 3 marks question, this 3 number question, this diagram is asked, and well-labeled diagram aata hai in state board exams, in CBSE exam. Then labeling is asking particular 3 or 4 sites of the ovule are asking to label that particular diagram. So how to first, the question is that draw the label diagram of the ovule, and then the question is start. So how to start the diagram of ovule, that you pay attention. So here whenever we draw, we always begins from the embryo sac. Embryo sac in angiosperm or ovule in angiosperm, you remember, protected by 2 integuments. This diagram is provided in NCERT. Go through this diagram. And now we come, this is the typical structure of typical ovule. Typical ovule, again recall kariye, typical ovule is an anatropous ovule. Now we come towards the structure. We always begins from center towards the outer side. So exactly in the center of the ovule, one structure is there. Here we are not going to internal structure of this embryo sac or female gametophyte, because when we study the female gametophyte, so you automatically know what actually this structure represents. So here you remember, this is the embryo sac. Embryo sac in angiosperm means female gametophyte. So this part you remember, this is female gametophyte. Female gametophyte, here you remember, surrounded by 2 integuments. So in ovule there are 2 integuments are there, outer and inner integuments. When we come towards integument, so they are parenchymatous tissue and secondly diploid in nature. So this part you remember, the integuments are diploid tissue, 2 integuments, and as usual all the integuments are responsible for protection. So here also integuments are mainly associated with the protection of embryo sac. तो integument का हम पढ़ते आ रहे हैं. Main function of the integument is to provide a protection. Now one site we study or one another part हम यहाँ पे study करते हैं, that was the micropyle. Now what is micropyle, you remember, diagrammatically you see the integuments are present all over the surface of ovule. But when we define micropyle और micropylar end भी लिखते हैं, books में आपको m dot e dot करके भी मिलेगा. So micropyle, you remember definition wise, the part of ovule where both the integuments are completely absent, that part of ovule is called as micropyle. So this you remember. Now just opposite to this micropyle, one another tissue is present and part is present. That part of the ovule is called as chalaza. Or in next diagram, whenever you see the appear the labeling as a C dot E dot, that means it represents the chalazal end. Now what is chalaza? Chalaza, for definition purpose, you remember, the basal part of the ovule is called chalaza, or the site which is present exactly opposite to micropyle, that site of the ovule is called as chalaza. First thing you remember this. Now the main body of ovule. Main body of ovule is mainly made up of one tissue. That tissue is called as nucellus. So here you remember main body of ovule is called as nucellus, and for nucellus in board exam question is asked that what is the main body of ovule and what is its ploidy level. Ploidy level, you remember ploidy level means chromosome number. So the main body of ovule is called nucellus and its ploidy level is 2n, or it is a diploid tissue of the ovule. Now we come towards the next part of the ovule, that is called as funicle. Funicle, you remember the stalk of the ovule is called funicle, and with the help of this stalk the ovule is attached with the wall of ovary via placenta. So funicle, you remember in another books, if you go through the reference books, then the funiculus is name provided. So funiculus you also remember, either the funiculus in NCERT funicle is provided. So the stalk of the ovule you remember is called as funicle. This funicle show one vascular strand. With the help of vascular strand, the water and food is provided to the developing ovule, that is called as raphe. So raphe, simply you remember the vascular strand, that means the strand of xylem in phloem tissue. So vascular strand of the funicle is called as raphe, and one of the most important part of the ovule is called as hilum. For diagram based question and definition purpose, that you remember two questions for this diagram, one for the hilum and second for the nucellus. Now we come towards that what is hilum. Hilum, you remember, hilum is the connection between the funicle and main body of ovule, or you remember the site where the main body of ovule comes in contact with funicle. That point is called as hilum, or in your term you can simply remember the connection or joint in between the funicle and main body of ovule, that is called as hilum. So this much you remember labeling part of the diagram for the ovule. Now the questions which are asked. First question, draw the label diagram for the ovule, that you draw this diagram, and after that the questions are based on the definition type of questions. So statement based or definition type of based question. One question generally asks, label the part where the integuments are completely absent. That means you have to label the micropyle. Label the part where the main, which is called the main body of ovule. So you mentioned there nucellus. The basal part of the ovule, labeling आपको directly नहीं कहते हैं कि you label the chalaza, you label the nucellus. The statement is provided for that part and then only you label that part. So the question is that what is the basal, where is the basal part of ovule is located? In that condition you label the chalaza. So this diagram you remember for the structure of ovule. Now I explain each and every part of the structure of the ovule. Here we study the various part of the ovule. When we discuss the first part of the ovule, we study that is integument. Integument, here you remember, they're responsible for protection. Secondly, 2n numbers, outer and inner. Both integuments are diploid and tissue wise they are made up of parenchyma. So the integuments are parenchymatous in nature. Second we study that after integument we study about the micropyle. Micropyle definition you remember very well. The part of ovule where integuments are completely absent, that part is called as micropyle. It is the example for evolution, that with the help of development of micropyle, pollination is easily facilitated. So for entry of pollen tube. This part is developed in ovule of angiosperm. The third part we study chalaza. Chalaza, you remember, basal part of ovule. Female gametophyte. When we study about female gametophyte, so this part is clear. Female gametophyte show antipodal cells at this site of ovule. So this you remember. Then we come towards the most important part, that is nucellus. So nucellus, you remember, simply one line definition is there. Main body of ovule is called as nucellus and it is diploid structure. Generally in angiosperm, as the ovule become mature, the nucellus slowly disintegrate or replaced by the different kinds of tissues and structure. But most important, when this nucellus is persistent, that means the nucellus remain present as it is in seed also, because ये सभी को clear होगा आपको, the ovule is modified into seed or upon fertilization ovule is developed into seed. So when the nucellus is persistent or permanently present in seed, that persistent nucellus, you remember, persistent nucellus or remnant of nucellus कह रहे हैं आप, called as perisperm. So this definition also you remember. This we discuss when we study about the types of seed in the same chapter. So nucellus you remember. After that the next part are funicle and hilum. So the fifth part we discussed, that is the funicle and hilum, you can say. So funicle you all are knowing. The slender filament of the ovule is called as funicle, and hilum means the part of ovule or the main body of ovule where joins with or comes in connect with funicle. That part of the ovule is called as hilum. So this much you remember for the structure of typical ovule in angiosperm. There are different kinds of ovule. Anatropous means inverted ovule. Orthotropous means straight ovule. Right angle ovule, campylotropous ovule, different types of ovule, but these are not in your board syllabus, so we are not going to discuss. When we discuss this topic regarding or related to NEET purpose, in revision time, at the time of revision, we will discuss about the types of ovule. Here we strictly follow the NCERT, and according to NCERT only we go through the topic by topic. So for today's session, this much I explain. In next class and in next session, we continue with megasporogenesis, because once the ovule is formed, inside the ovule, megasporogenesis is take place, and similar to microsporogenesis, megasporogenesis result in the development of megaspore. And in next session mainly we study how that single megaspore is developed into a well-developed female gametophyte. So stay connected with my channel. नाम मैक्सिमम बच्चों को पता चल चुका है, डॉक्टर दीपा डाकेस. नीट बायोलॉजी, कहीं भी डाउट्स हैं, डिफिकल्टीज हैं, क्वेरीज हैं, तो फ्रीली पूछ सकते हैं. एनी लाइन ऑफ एनसीईआरटी, इफ यू फील एनी डाउट, that also you can ask freely. And the students who are new for the session, they kindly subscribe my channel, like my videos, go to the previous videos for the same chapter, and by that time जब तक न्यू सेशन में न्यू टॉपिक के साथ आएंगे, मोटिवेट रहना है, सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंट रहना है, एंड वर्क हार्ड फॉर योर बेटर लाइफ. थैंक यू.